Good Wednesday evening to you. We are back at A10 Zone inside Harris Casino in North Kansas City. I'm Clay Jensen and Brian McRae. How you doing?
I'm good.
How was your week, fantasy football-wise? Well, in general.
I'm 4-3 in one league and 1-6. Got my first win in another league. Second place in one league and fighting for last in the other, but at least I got a win.
Fighting for the Toilet Bowl championship. I lost in one and one. The Jelly Bean League. I'm on a 3-game winning streak. Knock on wood, it continues. The other one I lost by, I think it was like 8 points. I can't seem to get victories in the one that it matters, I guess, for bragging rights, but not the payout at the end. But so I'm looking all right, doing all right. A lot of buys this week. 6 teams on bye for Week 8. Chicago, Tennessee, Indianapolis, San Diego, Baltimore, and Houston. So you're probably scrambling. A lot of injuries, too. I read something online that there are 32 players on injured reserve already this year. Last year, through the whole season, 30.
Well, I think it's something to do with the way they aren't allowed to practice as much in training camp and the OTAs and things like that with the guys getting injured. So you have to have a lot of good backups on your team. And I think the second half is going to help a lot of teams out because they had good backups. If you drafted right or made some moves during the season, not counting on 1 or 2 guys to be there the whole time because it's been your top line guys. It's been pretty much everything. Guys have been missing some time because of injuries.
Yeah, the doctors, James Andrews and many other ACL doctors will be very busy in the next coming weeks. A lot of ACL tears. Reminder, if you have any questions, fantasy-wise, start, sit, what have you, trade questions, we'd love to take them. Just bring them on up here. I saw Marshawn Lynch in the house. There he is right there. There's Marshawn Lynch. Somebody go to the gift store and get that man some Skittles. Beast mode. Beast mode. Let's start off with the noon games. Actually, we'll start with a Thursday game. How about that one? We got Carolina taking on Tampa Bay. And this is 2 good defensive teams and not much offense, really. Carolina ranked 28 in offense. And the Bucs, they're dead last in offense, not generating anything. They lost Doug Martin for a little while. They're not calling him season-ending yet, but not ready to put him on the IR. But
it's not good.
You're not expecting him back anytime soon. Let's start off with Carolina. Could be a nice game for Cam Newton in the passing game. Bucs have surrendered 3 touchdowns in their last 2 games against Philadelphia and Atlanta. It's really hard to like a Panthers running back. Stewart's going to be coming back pretty soon. You know, Williams and Mike Tolbert, they're pretty much splitting carries right now. They did against the Rams last week. Tolbert possibly like him a little more due to the goal line work he's been getting. DeAngelo Williams really hasn't really done too much.
No, he's got carries and touches, but he hasn't gotten into the end zone yet.
Yeah, Bucs are susceptible to pass catching backs also. So another reason I kind of like in a PPR, I guess I would go with Williams, but just standard scoring. You know, it's hopefully a better options. But like again, we have 6 teams on the bye, so you might be stuck with one of them. Steve Smith has a score in his last 2 outings. You're probably pretty happy about that.
He's still getting me points.
Yeah.
He's getting me 8, 9 points a week, so it's fine.
That's pretty good. I don't know. Standard leagues, if you got them, you're probably playing them. But like I said, against Tampa Bay, they're pretty good at the pass, and you might want to look other areas. Darrelle Revis will probably be blanketing Steve Smith for most of the game come Thursday night. So I'm not liking his chances.
But like you said, with all the teams that are on bye week, you may not have a lot of choices of who you play.
It gets rough. This is kind of where
this is one of those weeks where a lot of teams are just you're gonna throw guys out there, what you got, healthy bodies and all, and guys that are on a bye week, and this may be a low scoring week in a lot of fantasy leagues.
Could be. It also, I mean, if you bench or if you have a lot of good bench depth, it's gonna probably help you out in weeks like this. We have 6 teams on bye. You can go to that bench if you got some good players on your team and start them. I know I got Forte on the bench this week for San Diego. Keenan Allen, he's also on a bye. Houston, you got the 2 running backs there, which is probably the best time.
Let's
for them
put it
to go
this
on a
way:
bye.
most of your bench players this week are probably going to be players on a bye.
Agreed. For Tampa Bay, big news is the Bucks might have lost Doug Martin for the remainder of the season. No official word yet, but Mike James was probably the hot pickup. Had some bonehead actually put out 75 fab dollars for him, 75 of his 200. So he gave a good chunk of change away for a guy.
I still haven't spent any money on.
No bid dollars yet.
Nope.
Kind of picking up
I've got all the players that I needed and haven't spent a dime.
Yeah, Mike James, he's going to be the starter, and if you need a guy to just get 15, 20 touches, he's probably going to do it. But he's not better than Doug Martin, and Doug Martin wasn't getting it done when he was in there. So
nobody's going to get it done there. It's an offensive line problem.
Yeah, they are 0-6, possibly going to 0-7 after Thursday night. And Vincent Jackson, he's king there. Temper expectations, Panthers defense. They've not allowed a wide receiver touchdown since week 2. So Vincent Jackson, last couple of weeks been very good, but don't expect the same. Carolina fairly stingy. The front line very good against the run, and secondary is usually the part of them where you can kind of score. But they've been holding receivers at bay.
They've done a decent job.
And a good pickup this week. If you need a defense, you got one of yours on a bye. This would be a great defense to pick up if they're still available in your league. And Mike Glennon last week, quarterback Mike Glennon, 256 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's going to be on your bench this week unless 9 points from your quarterback is what you like. Carolina, that's what they're holding their fantasy quarterbacks that they're playing up against. 9 points for your quarterback. You got to look at other options out there. Getting into the noon games on Sunday, Dallas is going to be at Detroit. I was looking at the schedule and looking at all the teams playing. This is probably like the only one I'm willing to really watch.
There's some bad matchups.
There's some real. I'm like they're very ugly. They look kind of lopsided on paper, but those are sometimes the ones that will produce the best games usually.
But the only reason we watch is.
You got fantasy guys
right.
going. That's
if you don't have a rooting
fantasy
interest,
football. Yeah.
And that's why even a bad game last Monday, there were still a lot of viewers watching it because some games in fantasy football were riding on what those players did.
Yeah, that was an ugly game on Monday. And my apologies, being from Minnesota, I apologize for everyone having to watch the Vikings and Josh Freeman run around. With their heads.
Well, you don't have to worry about Josh Freeman running around this week.
He has concussion-like symptoms. First they said it was a concussion, then they're like, well, let's not call it quite that.
Is that kind of like a mild heart attack? You had a heart attack?
Yeah, exactly. There's something not right there, so I don't think he's going to play. Dallas at Detroit. Anything Calvin can do, Dez can do better, according to the Cowboys wideout Bryant. Eye-popping 16 targets last week, converting that into 8 catches, 110 yards. He and Terrence Williams. Terrence Williams are going to get the touchdown. I'm probably going to be playing him as my flex receiver this week. I'm kind of going between him and maybe Fred Jackson, maybe Larry Fitzgerald.
He's come on strong in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, he's looking good. Didn't have a lot of catches, but he did get the touchdown for the Cowboys. He's had a touchdown now in 3 straight weeks for Terrence Williams. So if you can pick him up, he's probably already grabbed, but you might want to look at starting him this week. He should continue to shine against the Lions defense that ranks next to last and 26th in fantasy points allowed to the wide receiver position. So you got to like the passing game for Dallas. Not a great game for Romo last week. That you thought that game was just going to be high scoring. You got 2 really bad defenses in the Cowboys and the Eagles, and 2 good offenses, and it was 17-3.
And it wasn't much going on until the second half.
Oh, Nick Foles, how you burn me. How I loathe you now. DeMarco Murray, not officially out for this Sunday, but he's looking like Joseph Randle. Possibly get another start. And, he might get another shot in the backfield. DeMarco Murray is iffy. It's a noon game, so at least you'll have time to get one in, one out, depending on if you got them both. So he's a starting running back. That's all I can say. Detroit,
for what it's worth.
For what it's worth. They are taking on Detroit, though. The big game, Cleveland is at Kansas City. Oh, my goodness gracious. Just got word that Whedon is out.
Whedon's out due to
poor play. Jason Campbell's going to be the starter for the Browns this week.
starter number 5 this year?
Yeah, it's not looking good. The Browns and the Vikings, they have that in common. They have 3 different starters already this season, and we're about halfway through the season. Not a great game for the Browns last week on the road against the Packers. I thought they'd actually be able to do something, but Packers defense, they stood tall. If the offense can't get it done in Lambeau Field, it sure is not happening at Arrowhead. Your thoughts?
I think that if you have anybody on Cleveland, you're just hoping for some garbage points, or you're probably not playing them.
Yeah, I mean, you might. Josh Gordon Orders, you might get something from him. He was held in check last week, so.
But I don't see that offense scoring 20 points against the Chiefs.
Yeah, probably not. And Josh Gordon, he might even be in a different uniform next week. They're fielding trade rumors for Josh Gordon, and 3 different teams have been interested. They haven't divulged those names, but there have been talks. So whether it happens or not, Josh Gordon might be going to maybe a better team that has a quarterback that can actually get him the ball,
and a quarterback that stays in there for more than 1 week.
Yeah, he was targeted a lot in the red zone, but they just couldn't get anything to do.
I don't see them unless the Chiefs Chiefs make a lot of turnovers. I don't see the Browns have any opportunity to score a whole lot.
Yep, agreed. A kicker duel, maybe?
No.
What do you think?
17-3, 17-10.
I can see this game being like,
Chiefs won't blow them out, but it won't. You will never feel like the Browns have a chance to win the game.
The Browns defense started off really strong, but last couple of weeks they've just kind of gone to the wayside. But you never know here. Jamal Charles, he's continued to produce. He's fantasy's most reliable player, I think, thus far. Of all the guys taken in the first round, I think he's the one that is.
And with everybody getting hurt, if you have Jamal Charles, I think you have to keep your fingers crossed and hope that he's not the next one in line.
7 straight games with 100 combo yards and a touchdown. I did not know that, but the games he didn't get a rushing touchdown in, he got a receiving touchdown. So he's scored in every game so far and gotten over. He had 100 yards exactly.
And he is the
week,
offense.
So. Yeah, he is, and they're not looking to stretch the field anytime soon. So, he should have a very good game. Dwayne Bowe, he had his best game last week as far as targets and yards go, I guess. No touchdown, but he had his most targets, most catches, most yards, and he hasn't found the end zone though since week 4, and that's a problem there. Good bet he'll be held in check once again against Cleveland's Joe Hayden. He'll be probably blanketing the 7th-year receiver.
Yeah, he's been double-teamed and not been able to get open and not been able to do much. And Alex Smith has been moving the ball around to other players. Fasano was back in the lineup, and he had probably 5 or 6 targets. So I don't see – if you have Dwayne Bowe, you probably are thinking about getting rid of him, or you have gotten rid of him.
Yeah, I traded him away for Wilson, Dave Wilson, who should be coming back eventually for the Giants. It's a whole nother story. But, right now it's – when we made the trade, they both had 7 fantasy points that week, and then Wilson got hurt, and Dwayne kind of went ahead of that. But you'll see what happens there. Alex Smith couldn't find the end zone through the air, but saved fantasy face with a botched quarterback keeper.
I don't know what that play was.
Was that planned?
Whatever it was counted for 6.
You first saw,
but it didn't look right.
You saw the play, and it's like, wow, all right, designed running play. Alex Smith might be getting some love. And then you watch the replay, and he had his hand out there for a good 5 seconds before he realized nobody's coming to pick up the ball, and he just he tucked it and went in and ran. So that kind of saved him there. He hasn't thrown a touchdown in 3 straight weeks, but he might find a way against the Browns team. Like I said, they've given up 7 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. Now, granted, it's Detroit and Green Bay. Detroit had 4. Green Bay had 3 last week. I'm not saying Alex Smith is on the same level as Aaron Rodgers or Matthew Stafford, but
he is what he is.
And it's not the way they really run their offense either. No. They're kind of just rely on their defense and then give the ball to Jamal Charles as much as
they
possible.
score 17 points. They think they should win.
Great opportunity. The Chiefs defense, it should be a field day. Unfortunately, it's against my Browns, but they lead the league with 35 sacks this year. It's crazy, and they're taking on Jason Campbell, stepping in at quarterback. That
defense is outscoring some offensive players.
Oh, definitely.
Weekly.
Definitely. Oh, yeah, definitely. I think they're probably I would say that they're in the top 20, I would think, just overall generating fantasy points. So, and no matter what league you have, they're getting the defensive touchdowns and everything else. So, let's move on to Miami at New England. No love for Brian Hartline or Mike Wallace last week, as Brandon Gibson reaped the benefits. Did you watch any of that game? Did you see any of his touchdowns?
Saw a little bit of it.
Did you see him get the touchdown and then jump over the fence into the crowd? I was like, that's probably not a good thing to do. I thought they were going to mob him, but he
doesn't get in the end zone a whole lot.
This is true. That was kind of funny to see that. He was He was all right. He had 5 catches, 40 yards, and the 2 touchdowns.
Better than all right. You get in the end zone twice.
Exactly. That's really what helps you out there. Let's temper expectations. It was against the Bills, though. But
if you happen to pick him up last week, you got lucky. But don't count on that.
Yeah, it's one thing picking the guy up. It's another thing starting the guy. There's only 2 teams on bye last week, I believe.
Right. So, he probably didn't start for a whole lot of people.
Yeah. Maybe in a deep league where you need to fill like maybe 4 wide receiver spots, but. Could be another tough outing for the receiving core of the Pats, allowing the 4th fewest fantasy points to the wide receiver position. I think it'll be a pretty close game. Both these teams usually play each other pretty close. New England, they may be the 22nd ranked defense, but they give up 18 points per contest. That's 5th fewest in the league. So if you got a Miami player, like I said, you got 6 teams on bye. You might have no other option but to start him. But temper expectations. It's 18 points per game. It's not a lot. That's on average, so that's pretty good. The running game, the Miami running game.
Nobody knows who's going to get the ball.
We love to talk about. It's talks now. Daniel Thomas, your boy Daniel Thomas, might be getting most of the work.
That's why I said.
Or Lamar Miller.
You got to keep him.
What's going on? I don't get it. Both players, though. I looked this up. I thought I did a little digging here, a little fact finding. Both players combined last week for 103 yards, right? That was their highest total thus far. For both players combined, through the 2013 season, Lamar Miller and Daniel Thomas have averaged a combined 64.2 yards per contest.
It's bad.
I put the word ouch there, and I put 3 exclamation points. It was in capital
But
letters.
I think going forward in the second half of the year, Daniel Thomas is going to get more of the reps. And if you had him on your bench, he may be a guy that, with some of these injuries with running backs, that could do something in the second half. He may be a guy that you pick up for a week or 2 and see what happens.
Yeah, the touchdown only league, I think, would be the only time I would even look at these guys. Otherwise,
right.
I'm not
You're not looking at him for 20 carries, 100 some odd yards.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, for New England, Rob Gronkowski's back. Fantasy owners still waiting on Tom Brady to find his niche, though. Miami hasn't allowed a score through the air in 2 straight games, but it should happen against the Dolphins. Brady, last 2 games, they were taking on Baltimore and Buffalo. I think Tom Brady's a little more fantasy relevant than Thad Lewis and Joe Flacco.
Yes.
Yeah. But you look at it
But
now,
the Dolphins' defense isn't bad.
Yeah, they are good. So I wouldn't expect too much from Brady. Right now, I heard something. If you looked at all the players, he's 55th overall, and there's probably about 12 players you can name off that are better than Brady's doing right now.
He's been below average.
Yeah, it especially getting all your weapons taken away. They finally get Gronkowski back, but it's like a whole new receiving arsenal.
3 weeks after we thought he was coming back, he finally played.
Exactly. So more good things, I think, coming from Gronkowski and Brady. Pick your poison with the receiving and running backs. Eventually, I think Ridley and Vereen will get back and finish the season as he started, cementing themselves as the lead dogs there in the backfield. It's kind of a mess right now. Ridley's playing. Vereen will be back, I think, week 11, I believe. So eventually, I think they'll start getting things taken care of for the Patriots. And they're winning right now. They got a good record. They're 5-2. 3-0 at home. Pulled out a win last week against the Saints with the last seconds. But I think they're holding their own, and they're on top.
I don't think this is going to last, though.
The AFC East, I don't know if anybody else is really going to challenge them too much. So
the surprising Jets, maybe.
Possibly. If I had to choose, 2 guys, probably the ones who are going to play is Brady and Gronk, and until they find out exactly what they're going to do. The backfield, it's so hit and miss, and you probably know that going into it. and you know that with the Bill Belichick offense, it could be any receiver any day. You can go with the roulette wheel possibly and just
Have a better chance.
a better chance of figuring out where the ball's going to land on the numbers. So we're going to take a little break and be back with some more matchups. Taking your questions if you'd like to come on over here and let us know about them. Start sit questions, trade rumors. I know the trade deadline is going to be coming up for fantasy-wise probably second week in November, but the trade deadline for the NFL is, I believe, next Tuesday, I think. So we'll be back with more Fantasy Football Wednesday, 810 WHB TV. We'll be back in a moment. I was going to mention it on Monday night, but for the Monday Night Football game, I can mention it again. Back Fantasy Football Wednesday at 810 Zone in North Kansas City inside Harris Casino. I see a lot of people walking around, and it must be the gift of the night. They have these, I don't know if it's a socket set or what it is, but I think it's for some of maybe the guest rewards or something like that. But I want one.
I think they're coming to watch World Series game later.
That as well. That'll be starting up 7:07. We thank you for your time, and hopefully not we're disturbing anybody's meals too much. It's all good. Again, we are on WHB 810WHBTV.com, and you can also go on Facebook and post some questions there, fantasy football related, or make comments about my receding hairline. That's also an option there. Let's get back to the matchups. Buffalo's in New Orleans, the Big Easy. Buffalo, tough go of it for the Bills. The Saints pretty formidable against the run and pass. This one could get out of control quickly.
Yes, if the Buffalo, whoever they have at quarterback.
It's going to be Thad Lewis.
Thad Lewis again.
Yeah, it'll be Thad Lewis again. And, I love my Dukies, don't get me wrong. Not so much the football team, but the basketball team. But
they need to control the ball, or it can be a runaway.
Yeah, they're gonna have to keep the Saints out the field. For the running backs, if I had to start one of them, Spiller or Jackson, and I have that problem in one league.
Flipping a coin.
Yeah, well, right now it's Jackson. He's been getting the most work over Spiller. Spiller's ankle's still not fully healthy, but Jackson tweaked his knee last week. went down on the sideline. And, you know, you don't wish injury on anybody if you have both these guys. It's just like, thank goodness, finally. One of them's going to be out for a while, and then he comes back and he scores like a small, short touchdown run. So.
Yeah, Spiller may be questionable.
Yeah.
So he's looking like he may not play as much if he plays at all.
The coaches are saying, well, you know, he says, I'm ready to go. I know my body real well. Da, da, da. And the coach is like, nah, not so soon there, CJ. So, yeah, Jackson, I think, would be the one to go. He's listed as questionable, but he also seems to get the goal line work, and he gets the most passes out of the backfield. So if you're in a PPR league, I think Jackson would be the way to go right now. It's kind of brutal right now. You got him in your flex position, possibly, you know. But with bye weeks, you might be starting one of them. I think I'm starting Fred Jackson because I got Forte on a bye. So I'll be plugging Fred Jackson in there and then possibly receiver in my flex position. Spiller did not practice today, but I think it's more precautionary than anything. He rested last Wednesday as well. So, you know, expects to see Spiller out there. But, you know, you're tempting fate. You don't know exactly how much work he's going to get.
No, I wouldn't start him.
Yeah, Tashard Choice also was in the mix last week.
See, I've been playing Choice. I picked him up.
Did you play him last week?
Yeah, I played him last week.
You guys, I got to see this league here.
We have a 14-team league, so it's not a lot.
It's true, I guess.
And, you know, when you're picking up guys on the waiver wire, you know, you're looking at carries and who's getting the most out of it, and there are not a lot of guys that do anything.
Yeah.
And with all the injuries with Buffalo's situation, I'm like, I take a shot at it and see what happens, and got me a few points.
Yeah, yep. That's good. So for the New Orleans Saints, big question is Jimmy Graham's going to play or not. He's questionable. Most likely be a game time decision, but again, it's a noontime game, so you're going to know whether or not Jimmy Graham's going to be taking the field or not.
Don't stay up too late on Saturday night to where you can't get up early enough to scout things out.
Exactly.
And you're in panic mode Sunday morning.
Yeah, next thing you know, it happened with Calvin Johnson for some people. He was like last minute. They basically kept him out 2 weeks ago. So a lot of people had him on their starting lineup, got 0 points from him. So you'll know before game time. Around 11 o'clock is when the injury reports come out, about an hour before kickoff. So they'll get that. And, yeah, so there's Jimmy Graham. Of course, if he's active, you're going to be starting him. So he's too good. Just even in some
they're not going to run him out there if he's not close to 100% either.
I really don't think he's going to play. 'Cause if they're playing if this is a divisional game, and they're being chased by somebody in the division, nobody's really close to him right now. They're playing the Buffalo Bills. They should be easily up on these guys. And
I think he's going to miss a couple more weeks.
Yeah, definitely I don't see him playing this week, and it could possibly be a couple more after that. So, good game coming for Drew Brees at home. Buffalo, they surrendered at least 2 touchdowns to opposing quarterbacks in every game but one, and that was against my Cleveland Browns, who gave up 86 yards and a score though to Josh Gordon. So the Bills, they can be had on. They got some good receivers out there, which the Saints do have. At running back, the only safe play really is Darren Sproles. He's a running back. He catches the ball in the backfield very nicely.
Does a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I don't know if you really go with anybody else. Went up against a team with a definitive pass-catching back. They've fared well against the Bills. Shane Vereen, week 1, they took on the Patriots. The Bills were against the Patriots, and Shane Vereen put up decent numbers, 58 yards on 7 catches. He also had 101 yards rushing in that game. Then he went out with his injury. And Giovanni Bernard for the Bengals, week 6 it was. He had 6 for 72 yards catching and a touchdown. So that's why I kind of like Sproles in this matchup. I
would like Sproles with any matchup.
Yeah, that's probably the only safe play. Receiver or running back wise, it's kind of like the Patriots. You only got a select few guys that you're going to be rolling.
But again, as we spoke earlier, with all these teams on a bye week, you may not have a lot of choices of who you run out there.
You might be playing Stills out there and just hoping that he grabs one. Colston,
hadn't done much.
I don't like the guy. There's something about him, I don't know. I just never draft him on draft day. So the New York Giants, they are at the Philadelphia Eagles. We mentioned last week we thought the Giants or the Eagles and Cowboy game was going to be a little high scoring, and that was a stinker for everybody.
So what do you think of this one?
you expect big numbers from the Cowboys last week against the Eagles, but that didn't fare well this week. Another big division matchup. I think it's going to be a close game. You know, you thought it was going to be high scoring last week, 2 bad defenses, but it's hard to say. I think there's going to be more than 20 points scored in this one. I would hope so, anyways. The Giants, 23rd defense, and the Eagles, once again the bottom-ranked defense in the National Football League. Giants giving up 30.9 points per game. That's second most in the NFL. And
but if you go to their last game,
again, yes,
and they did play the Vikings, so but it's still an NFL team.
Barely.
They may be on a roll.
This is true.
Eli didn't turn the ball over. Defensively, they played well.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. He didn't turn it over, but you watched the game. There was the Vikings secondary.
He could have at least thrown 3 interceptions.
There was at least a pick six that was right in the guy's hand. I think it was Cook, and
I have Eli, and he hadn't played for me in 4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you think the interception is going to be there. I think he had 15 going. I think he's at 15 right now. Most of the NFL.
Yeah, he's the leader in the clubhouse with interceptions.
Yeah, that's not a good thing. So, 27th against fantasy quarterback. So I think you're going to roll Eli Manning out there. He's got the weapons at the receiver position. So you got to think good things are coming for Eli Manning. Chalk up last week's game against Dallas. I'd say about maybe 250 yards, couple of scores for Eli Manning.
I'm not playing him, so it doesn't matter. I don't.
I could see it. Hopefully, get some other options out there, but it's kind of risky. If there is a mess in the backfield, it is in the Big Apple. David Wilson, he's sidelined until about week 10. Brandon Jacobs, he has a hamstring injury. Darrell Scott, he's on IR. He was on the team. They cut him. They brought him back.
Then he got hurt.
Then he's on IR. Now he's cut again. Got cut twice. It's got to mess with the psyche a little bit. And Peyton Hillis and Michael Cox.
Hillis looked good.
The guy was like substitute teaching a gym or something like that the week before. He had more fantasy points than Adrian Peterson yet last week. That's not good. So
that just shows you how sad the Minnesota Vikings are right now.
Well, that and the Giants' backfield, it's kind of a mess. So we'll see what happens. But Peyton Hillis, he got the touchdown, and you're holding on to David Wilson. He is going to be coming back, but you're probably rolling one of those guys out there if you got to. For Philadelphia, Vic's probably going to be back under center. Foles out with an injury. You're running a risk starting the guy, though, because he might start the game, but you never know when that hamstring is going to creep back up and knock him out. But he looked Foles had a good week 2 weeks ago. He ran that touchdown in, had 3 touchdown tosses. But
I just don't think he's a long-range answer.
Yeah, no. He's not anymore, especially because he's dinged up. But Vic, you're rolling him out there. Again, you might have a quarterback that is on bye this week. Cutler's going to be done, I think, for the week for Chicago. But maybe you have Andrew Luck on a bye, Phillip Rivers. You got Flacco. I wouldn't think so, but Houston, that's another guy. I wouldn't be touching the Houston quarterback. So, but for Philadelphia, I think he's an all right play. He's at home, so it should be a favorable matchup. Second nice game for Riley Cooper. He had 2 touchdowns a week before. This time 6 catches for 88 yards. Like I said, a lot of these guys are going to have to be kind of putting out there because you got no other option. They're probably the best option out there because you have multiple players on bye.
Michael Vick's going to be back.
Yeah, yep. He's addable in deeper leagues, I think, but I think there's probably some better options out there for a standard league for Cooper.
But I'm just saying, with Vick being back, I think the offense has a chance to be a little bit more explosive.
Yeah, he is a better fit, and they'll get more done with a scrambling quarterback like that. So LaShawn McCoy, he wasn't on a bye last week, but it was not a pretty game for him. You got to look for a bounce back game from him, and he's leading his team in fantasy points. So he's kind of like the Jamal Charles for the Eagles right now. He's getting. Of course, the Eagles actually have receivers they throw to every once in a while, which is always.
But
nice.
they haven't been scoring. Chiefs have been scoring a little bit more than the Eagles, and that's scary.
Yeah, that is true. Giants give up the second most points per game at 30.9. So there should be some points out there. But again, we looked at last week's Dallas and Philadelphia game, and that it just was not meant to be. For San Francisco and Jacksonville in foggy London town, the second London game. I think they're having 3 next year, right?
I thought they had 3 this year.
Is it 3 this year? I know they're having. It might be even 4 then next year. I know they're adding another game to London for next year. So
Might be
I didn't know it's 2. It is 2 this year.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure. I don't know.
This might be Jacksonville's home away from home now.
Maybe they'll win. I don't think so. San Francisco, not exceptional day for them last week, but Colin Kaepernick, he was all right. Yeah, didn't throw a touchdown, but he did have a 20-yard run. He was on my bench. I played Foles over him.
He hadn't done enough, though.
It's true, yeah. And Foles had the more favorable matchup last week, but leave it to me for having Kaepernick on the bench, and then he runs one in from 20 yards out. So and it was kind of early on. I didn't see the play. I don't know if it was botched. I don't know if it was a planned play, but hopefully for Kaepernick owners, you want to see that a little more of in the next few weeks here. I'm seeing and hoping I am going to start him this week. For a big day against the Jags. They give up the 31.7. That is the most points per game in the NFL.
Even more than the Giants now?
Yes, they are.
So the Giants went below now after that good
No, the
game.
Giants are second.
Giants are second,
30.9, and Jacksonville 31. So not a lot, but, just barely. Gore, I think he'll get his before they actually pull him off the turf. He'll probably want to play the whole game, but it won't happen. I don't think. Jacksonville played Denver kind of close, but I don't see this one being close at all. It's technically Jacksonville's home game, but it's in London. Come on, both teams are traveling. So Gore had 2 scores last week against much more formidable Texans defense, and should produce the same in London, across the pond, if you will. Toss up between Vernon Davis and Anquan Bolden. And you never know who Kaepernick's gonna hit. I think it's just based on matchup and what the schemes they're trying to run there.
With the way he throws the ball, you have to be in a touchdown-heavy league for the most part, because they're not getting a lot. He doesn't throw for a lot of yards.
Yeah, but Vernon Davis 2 weeks ago. Vernon Davis had a huge game. Had 2 touchdowns, 160, 180 yards or whatever.
And then what did he throw for in total? He barely threw for 200 yards in total, though.
Yeah, but if you have one of those 2 guys, I think you're taking
if you have one
out
of them,
there.
Yeah.
One of those guys, I'm saying,
it's going to do something.
It's going to do something. You don't know who it's going to be.
But they also have those games where they're 5 receptions for 50 yards.
And then Gore has 2 touchdowns. Kendall Hunter with 1. Driving Gore owners a baddie. Once again, 810WHBTV.com. We are on Facebook. You can put your questions there, or just go online and stream the event if you'd like to do that as well. For Jacksonville, we should probably get to the other side of this game here. Jacksonville, not much to mention. Justin Blackmon or Cecil Shorts, neither of them really did anything. It was Mike Brown, 5 catches, 120 yards last week against the Chargers. I'm not reading into the tea leaves too much on this guy.
I think that you have Justin Blackmon, you're playing him. Cecil Shorts, maybe. But as far as anybody else on Jacksonville offensively, I'm not playing him.
Yeah, Locker.
If you have better options.
Yeah, Locker for the Titans. They did have 2 touchdowns against the 49ers last week. They were scored on twice through the air, but yeah, you're not Blackmon. I guess you could probably bring him out there. That's probably the only guy week to week. Cecil Short's kind of dinged up right now, and Mike Brown, I hadn't heard of him until.
And you may not hear
of
again.
him again. He will ride off into the fantasy football big house in the sky there. Good week for Maurice Jones-Drew in week 6, but last week came back to earth against San Diego. He had 9 carries for 37 yards. I'm no math expert, but
It's not good.
no, it was kind of like what they were doing with Jamal Charles last year. They giving the guy, he's your workhorse, he's your big guy. You got to give him more work than 9 carries, for crying out loud. It was like Ray Rice a few weeks ago. They gave him
Nothing.
4 or 6 carries or something, and then they finally fed him the ball after that, and they actually won the game. Surprise!
But it's
surprise.
hard for Jacksonville to do anything when they're behind all the time.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. For the Jags, I think possibly they could be looking. They are going to be looking to be the first 0-8 team, I believe. Yeah, 0-8 because the other who's the other team at the playing tomorrow night? Tampa Bay. Yeah, they haven't had their bye yet. So the Jacksonville Jaguars, or they have had their bye. Jacksonville Jaguars could be the first 0-8 team in the season thus far. So,
Well, at least they'll win this one
have.
away from anybody paying attention to them.
yeah, you never know because the Vikings, their only win came in London. So London does something. It's something in the water, I guess. We're going to take a break. Be back with some more games, the 3 o'clock games, and also Sunday night and Monday night games. We'll touch on those as well. We are at the 8-10 zone in Kansas City inside Harris Casino. I'm Clay Jensen, Brian McCray. We'll be back in a moment. TVs?
Yeah.
All right. Let's get through the last of these games here. Back at 8-10 zone in Leawood. No, not Leawood.
No, we're a little
City.
bit further away. Yeah.
Kansas City, yes, at Harris Casino. Got the 3 o'clock games. Going to run through these real quickly here and get something to eat and watch Game 1 of the World Series. Listen a little bit of it. Hopefully it doesn't get out of control. Who do you think's winning the World Series, by the way?
Cardinals in 6.
That's what I say, too. 4-2.
Yeah, I went to St. Louis on Friday for Game 6 of the NLCS, and
Don't mean to brag, right?
no, I was surprised how boring the game was because they beat up on the Dodgers. I was hoping for a decent game.
Yeah.
But I don't know how the Cardinals do it, but they're kind of like the Patriots.
They find a way.
They find a way to do it with multiple players. Kind of odd, but it works for them.
Exactly. All right, let's get to 3 o'clock matchups. Jets taking on the Bengals. Two pretty good defenses here, and decent offenses, I guess. Jets been kind of surprising. They are 4-3 on the year.
At times, decent offense.
Yeah.
Geno has been up and down for the Jets.
I'm not predicting a 38-35 game in this one. But,
I don't know what to think of this one.
It's Ivory had a huge game. He had it was like 35, 37 carries, something crazy like that, and barely got over 100 yards with those. So, like we said, if you got the guy, you're going to probably bring him out there. due to the fact that you probably have another running back that's on a bye this week. Anything else for the Jets? I did predict Geno Smith to get a rushing touchdown, didn't I?
And he got one.
And he got one. That's right. My boy Geno.
He's done well.
For Cincinnati Bengals.
I don't know what's wrong with Andy Dalton.
Yeah, he had a decent game last week. I think he had 2 or 3 touchdowns.
But 2 weeks ago, not too much, and he's just not been as consistent as everybody thought he might be going into the season.
Yeah, I think you don't really think he's going to do too much. He had 3 touchdowns last week, 372 yards. So yeah, he is very up and down. I don't see it coming against the Jets this week. They're ninth against the
that
defense.
Defense is for real. The offense is kind of schizophrenic at times, but the defense for the Jets has done an outstanding job.
And you love watching Rex Ryan go crazy. You're putting out Giovanni Bernard and Benjaris Green-Ellis and A.J. Green, of course. So you're probably starting everybody on the offense. Dalton, he might be a sneaky pickup, but I don't know about this week. Later on down the run, I think he's got some favorable matchups. But this week against the Jets, there's probably some better options out there.
No, if you have him and you're playing him, it's probably because with the off week.
Exactly.
Bye weeks.
I did pick up Jake Locker for Tennessee because before he got injured, he had some nice games. And he played last week. He's on a bye this week, but he's got some favorable matchups coming up. Really bad pass defenses, so you might want to grab him and stash him at least for maybe a week that one of your running back or your quarterbacks on a bye. All right, for the Steelers and Raiders, Steelers defense is legit.
The defense may outscore the offense.
Yeah, second in the league, second best defense out there. Raiders not too shabby either. They host the 6th best defense in the league, and both these offenses haven't really been doing too much.
No,
bottom echelon for them, but I do see some good things coming for Ben Roethlisberger this week. He's out there on some waiver wires. You might pick him up. This would be a quarterback you might want to play. You got somebody on a bye. And I just had somebody drop Terrell Pryor to pick somebody else up. I might snag him up because I think later down the road,
if he can stay healthy.
If he can stay healthy, but he's got some wheels too.
He will do some things because he can create offensively, but that offensive line may kill him.
Yeah.
That game against the Chiefs a couple weeks ago where he was just running for his life the whole time, but he did break off 3 or 4 good runs.
Exactly. So you could probably get in the end zone this week, but he could also get scattered and throw a pick 6 as well. So one never knows. Steelers, you're probably starting Le'Veon Bell and Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, of course, Emmanuel Sanders if you need to in a pinch.
And you just hope that at some point in time this Pittsburgh offense gets it going.
For the Raiders, Sebastian Janikowski and Terrell Pryor.
And maybe their defense.
And maybe their defense. There you are. Redskins taking on the Broncos. The big news today was Peyton Manning missing practice with a bad ankle. So he missed the practice today. Apparently this injury was suffered not during the Indy game, but the week before that. So
he didn't look right the way he threw the ball in the Indy game.
I was making that. It's like, look, I mean, as much as I love Peyton Manning,
something just didn't look right.
Some of those balls were not thrown with the same accuracy and power that he's.
It didn't look like
doing.
He was able to step up in the pocket.
Exactly. I don't think they'll have any trouble against the Redskins. They give up the third most points in the league, 30.7 to be exact, and the Broncos are averaging over 40. So
you're still going to play him if you have him.
Exactly. Of course, you're starting Peyton Manning. No, Sean Moreno has cemented himself now as the lead dog in the backfield. Another fumble, I think was it Hillman? Hillman, I think, fumbled the ball last game. So it's just more reason why No Sean Moreno's the only back that you're hanging on to. Hillman and Bell could just probably be dropped outright because they're not really doing anything. Moreno, 95 carries on the year, 413 yards, 8 touchdowns already.
That's the big number.
Yeah, he did get in the end zone last week as well. Didn't have 3 like he did 2 weeks ago, but still good there. Redskins offense is starting to surprise. I like it. They're looking really good.
I think RG3 is finally out of preseason mode, which he didn't play any preseason, and he's starting to play a little bit better, get the ball around, and he's moving a lot better in the pocket. Yeah. Finding multiple receivers. I think the rushing attack is getting a little bit better also, so that's opening up some things.
Yeah, Alfred Morris owners, they were very upset last week.
I had him.
He had 95 yards, don't get me wrong, 19 carries, but there's a guy named Halou
that apparently
got 3 3 touchdowns. I did not have Morris,
and
but
what
if I did, I would
he
be
touched the
spitting
ball
nails.
6 times.
Yeah,
got in the end zone 3 times.
He did get some carries though. So I mean, if they start running this high up, if they get down, Alfred Morris, he's not going to be in there because Halud seems to be the faster back, a better catcher than Morris. Morris still a great player. You're not dropping him, of course, but Halud might be a nice flex this week if they get down. They're going to start throwing that ball. Big game from Jordan Reed. I have him on my bench, but I will be putting him in now over Martellus Bennett. Martellus Bennett for Chicago did score.
What else
saved me.
has he done, though?
Martellus Bennett or Jordan Reed?
Reed.
Not a lot. This is granted. It was his biggest game of the year. 9 catches, 134 yards, and a touchdown. They're looking to him a lot. So he is, he's probably available in a lot of leagues out there. Pick him up, and I think you probably, if you have a middle of the line tight end, if it's not Gronkowski or Graham, you might just start him and just run it up because the Redskins are off their bye now. So, and you really only need to carry 1 tight end. You might flex 1 in, but I think there's probably better options down the road for flex wise.
Now, if you're playing 2 tight ends, there's probably something wrong there.
Yeah. I mean, unless you have, I had one guy I helped draft his team last year. We had Jimmy Graham and Rob Gronkowski.
Okay,
so in that situation,
because Graham's almost like a receiver.
Yeah, and that's not, of course, not happening this week or not this year, but. If you had something like that, I guess, maybe a Jordan Cameron or Graham, maybe, but otherwise you can probably just drop that on out of there. For the Falcons and Cardinals, Atlanta's in Arizona and taking on the 3-4 Cardinals. Falcons 2-4 this year. Not much to say about Atlanta. They did pick up a victory, 31-23, but it was against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, normally they're pretty good defense back there, at least for it's Revis back. Is it Revis back there? Yeah, Revis is back there. So, Cardinals defense is good.
Cardinals offense is
not so good.
Very bad. Yeah.
Not so good. So, you're predicting probably a closer game than a lot of people are going to expect. I do because. On the opposite end, it's.
I think the Falcons are going to blow them out.
Atlanta's defense is not that good, though. But the line for the offensive line for the Cardinals, it's not.
They can't get out of their way.
Yeah, so I might roll Fitzgerald. You might roll him out there. That's probably about it. There's really not much else. Andre Ellington possibly. Mendenhall did get a touchdown last week, but it's kind of a junky touchdown at that. But
it's going to be hard for them to score.
Yeah. A huge game. I really love the primetime games that they put up here. Tomorrow night, Carolina taking on Tampa Bay. But Sunday night, the big game, it is the Green Bay Packers entering the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome. It's a Mall of America field now, but taking on the Vikings. If you watched that last primetime game on Monday night, you know exactly what's going to be coming up here. Aaron Rodgers should have a huge game. I don't care who's in there. Boykin will be playing in there. JaMychal Finley just got out of the hospital. He's not going to be playing, of course, but you still got Jordy Nelson. You got a good running game from Eddie Lacy.
Play your Packers.
Play the Packers. And for the Vikings, you're putting Adrian Peterson out there. Packers defense, though, they're 8th on defense. So they got a pretty good defense, even with Clay Matthews out.
Peterson doesn't get any help.
Yeah, they know to sack the box. They're not afraid of.
They're not afraid of anything.
Matt Castle,
Ponder, whoever they run out there.
Freeman. Most likely it's going to be Ponder out there. So back in the day when Brett Favre was playing for the Packers, it was looking good because Favre could never do anything. He was awesome everywhere but inside the dome, and he just had some rough outings. But the Vikings, they give up the 4th most points per game. Packers should roll in this one, and my pizza bet with Johnny Buck is looking very good.
Yeah, I don't even think you would even take. No, I was just saying, unless you have to, the Vikings defense probably on the waiver wire. Unless you absolutely have to take them, you may, but you may be better off not playing a defense.
Exactly, and they're going to be a lot of points scored, and if you get penalized for points like you do in my league. Anything over like 30, 35 points, I'd say like a -6 or something like that. What's up, Jim?
Well, Coach Keenan is getting inducted into the Missouri Wrestling Hall of Fame this weekend. Big Packers fan. So I'm going to be rooting for the Packers this weekend over the Vikings for Coach Dave Keenan. And I'll let you tell the people out there a little bit about what's going on with that.
Yeah, Dave Keenan, he's going to be inducted in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. Great guy. You know these people around probably in your community, stuff like that. He's battling Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. He's in some late stages of it. When I first moved there, moved to Chillicothe 4.5 years ago, he's mobile, helping out, and with the football teams and stuff like that. And now he's just, he's in a wheelchair now and pretty much stationed there. But one of the guys, he knows every kid's name, every kid he's taught. Just like it's one of the guys, it's one of the great guys you hate to see something like this happen to. And I'm sure you probably know some people in your life too. It's just a stand-up guy, but he's getting it's the Medal of Courage Award, I believe, that he's going to be presented with down in Columbia. They are, I think, the social hours at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock. They're having the banquet. Tickets are $50. You might still be able to get them now, but Coach Keenan, a great guy. So I will be rooting for the Packers, even though they're playing the Vikings. But I'll be cheering on the Packers for him for this 1 week, Coach K. Just this 1 week
for a few hours, not a week, just a few hours.
Exactly. All right. So final matchup is Monday night. The Seattle Seahawks. They had a Marshawn Lynch guy over there. He's going to be in beast mode. Seattle taking on the St. Louis Rams. The only saving grace maybe is the game's going to be in St. Louis, but I don't think that's really going to help too much.
No, because they're going to be in World Series mode.
Yeah, they are.
That's World Series game, I think 4
on Monday night. No, not.
Is Monday? No, game 5 is Monday night.
No way. Game 5 seriously on Monday night?
Yeah.
That quickly?
Yeah.
I think they turned the thing around that quickly.
It goes Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So that'll be game 5.
Jeez Louise.
Will there be a Tim Tebow sighting?
No, Timbo T. No. It's I think they're gonna hang it up. I don't know. Maybe they'll put him out there
To do what?
I don't know. I thought Jacksonville might sign him at one point in time, but they got Blaine Gabbert and and Chad Henne, so they're good to go there. But for the Rams, Sam Bradford ain't going to be out there. He's out for the season. He's also one of the ACL injuries from last week. It's going to be pretty ugly there. Sam Bradford, I like the guy. I think he'll be good. But
I thought he was playing better.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he was. Tavon Austin, he had a nice touchdown, which was called back on some kind of hokey tripping penalty. But Tavon Austin, that was probably his only moment to shine. It's just going to be ugly from here on out. Zach Stacy's probably the only Rams player that you're playing at all. Maybe their kicker, Zach Sudfeld. Zach, maybe. Not Zach Sudfeld. Zerline. No, who's the leg? Greg Zerline. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Seattle, you're starting everybody. Marshawn Lynch. Percy Harvin not quite back yet. People are hoping that they're going to see him this week. I don't think they will.
He's saying he's playing this week.
Yeah, he might get a couple snaps. The thing with Percy Harvin, you're not putting a guy out there until he has a breakout game. Then the next week after that, you got to see him do it first. He says he feels great, and he's everybody's hooting and hollering about him being
let's
looking
wait.
Great.
And see.
You got to wait because you don't want him to go out there get like a 3 for 30 game. You got to wait until he does what he did with the Vikings, putting up crazy receptions and some touchdowns. So we'll see what happens with that. And Marshawn Lynch is starting, and Russell, I think, will be a fine, good play. Russell Wilson as well for the.
I think he'll got a chance to put up some big numbers.
There we are. Also, for Monday night game, if you want to come on and watch the game there, Seattle and the Rams. There's a special here. I like this Monday night rib night, full baby back, not a half, a full slab of baby back ribs, fries. You like coleslaw?
I'm not a coleslaw fan.
It depends. I mean, some's good, some's not. The coleslaw here is really good, though. $16 for that, 5 to 10 p.m. That falls in the window.
You can watch Game 5 and Monday Night Football.
Yeah, probably more baseball than the football game. Might be out of hand early, but they have that every Monday here at Harrah's Inside 810 Zone. You have anything else you want to make mention?
Nope. Let's get to that point in fantasy football where either you got a good chance to get to the playoffs or you're just playing out the string.
And you might be a good team, and you're looking at one of those teams that maybe has one win and looking to grab their best player and just make everybody else in your league. I can't believe he did that.
I can't believe he gave you the championship.
It's like, the thing is, if nobody else is going to approach the guy for a trade, why not? Why not be that guy and go after? He might have Adrian Peterson and nothing else on there, and you'll be helping him out, and helping your team out as well. So, all right, that's all we got. We can enjoy Game 1 of the World Series and enjoy some football tomorrow night and also Sunday and Monday from the 810 zone in Harrah's Casino in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I'm Clay Jensen, Brian McRae. We will talk to you guys on Wednesday. Again, you can also watch us on WHB 810, 810WHBTV.com, and on Facebook. We'll talk to you next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thank you.